Gonna start recording then. Hopefully it's not too loud. Okay. So, first of all, I wanted to start off with not only a quote like normal, but I don't know why I feel like I need to tell you guys this, but maybe it's something that you need to hear. Is I was listening to this book yesterday, and they were talking about like saying no more often and learning how to say no. And it's not that I'm bad about that by any means, but I definitely say yes to a lot of things because I like get hecka FOMO. And I don't know if I'm the only one, but like I have major FOMO. But point being, had plans today and do not feel great today. And yesterday was just kind of like crazy. So I ended up canceling my plans because I really want to show up for my promotion just as much as you guys should be showing up for your promotions. And this is so important to me because this promotion isn't just about me. Like, this promotion means multiple of you going diamond, double. Like, there will be so many rubies, it's not even funny. And so this impacts 30 different people, 50 different people than just me. And I was just thinking about this training and thinking about, some of the trainings that we have come the rest of October because I made the schedule yesterday. And it just feels like, this is a time where we really need to push. And this is a time where we really need to take advantage of the things that corporate has given us to make these promotions happen. And that is going to mean sacrificing some things. And that is going to mean doing some things that you maybe don't want to do and doing them anyways. So I just wanted to give you guys a little inspiration to whatever you need to say no to this week, this month, to make your promotion happen. Just know that it's worth it. Like, the 30 days, 60 days of eating it is going to feel so good because the people who are out partying, the people who are going out to dinner every night, the people who are saying yes to all of the things, regardless of what it is, they're not coming home with a double diamond paycheck. You are. They're not having 15 people on their team come home with ruby paychecks. You are. You know what I mean? So just think about what you truly want. And this was my quote for the day, which kind of goes along with this, is a little progress each day adds up to a big result. So if we can just do our best every single day and make some of the sacrifices when we need to, and, I'm not telling you to throw everything down the drain and stay home 24/7, but whatever that looks like for you. You guys get my point. So, little progress each day. I will forewarn you guys, I have not slept in like a week. Like, the pregnancy insomnia is so real. It's killing me. It's absolutely killing me. I do not do well on no sleep. And I'm just like trying to tell my body, like, look, this isn't my first rodeo. I don't need prepping. Like, let me sleep right now, please, because my 2-year-old actually sleeps through the night. Anyways, I am like scatterbrained, and this training is probably going to be all over the place, but take it for what you will. And here we go. So today I wanted to talk to you about being your biggest critic, because I don't know about you, like, drop a 1 in the chat if this is relatable to you, but I am so damn hard on myself. Like, I feel like every single day I get into a bus and there's me standing at the end of the road and I'm going to run myself over 100 times before the day is up. Like, honestly, that's how I feel. And good. I'm glad I'm not the only one. And that's with all things, like mom guilt, wife guilt, like whatever it is, not taking care of myself, feeling like I'm slacking on my business when I do take care of myself or whatever. And so I wrote down some of the ways that I critique myself in my life and in my business so that maybe you guys can relate. And then I'm going to show you how I am overcoming that and all the things. But this kind of reminded me of another point that I hadn't really written down, But I've been listening to this book. It's actually free on Audible. So if you have Audible, there's this new thing called like their catalog collection. And you don't like, it's literally free to download the book. So you don't need to have a credit available. You don't need to have anything. It literally, you just download it. And it's called Procrastinate on Purpose by Rory Vaden. Procrastinate on Purpose by Rory Vaden. And it's really good. He talks about, it's actually very different than what I thought it would be based off of the title, but he talks a lot about managing your time and how you can feel like when you're giving your all in your business and you're crushing it in your business, you are sacrificing time with your family and maybe not showing up the way that you would want to because you're putting so much energy in your business, or vice versa, you know, like you're putting so much energy into your family because that's so important to you that you're putting your business on the wayside and using your why as your excuse. You know what I mean? So he goes through this whole thing. So I really want to suggest that you read and download that book if you are someone who beats yourself up like I do, because this book is helping me out a lot. And kind of talks about just balance and all the things. Anyways, okay. So again, one of the ways that I critique myself in my life is not spending enough time with my family, or spending too much with my family, time with my family, and not doing the other things that I should be. So I play this like dual devil game in my head where I'm like, you should be working. No, you should be present with your family. No, you should be working. No, you should be present. No, you should be working. No, you should be doing this. Like, it's this constant back and forth thing. And the other way that I critique myself in my life the most is I obsessively ruminate over previous conversations. So any conversation with Connor, with a friend, with a leader, with you guys, like trainings, all of the things, for the next hour at least, I am sitting there thinking about all of the different ways that I should have presented myself, all the different ways that I should have explained that differently, the fact that I should have said this and I didn't and I forgot and that was a huge point, or maybe I should have touched less on this, or did I offend somebody? Like, I go through this whole thing. And it's not, it's even like when I go live, or when you guys, like I'm saying, when you text me or whatever, I'm like, I hope I didn't ruffle feathers. And then I'm like, well, who cares if you do? It's the truth. You know what I'm saying? So I go through just this battle, and I know I'm not the only one who does this. So I'm going to kind of talk about in a second how I handle this with myself. But the way that I critique myself in my business is I should have done more today. Like every single day, even if I've sent like 300 messages, I've literally worked like 8 hours that day, which is like not necessary. I've like gone live, done a million things, talked to my team, given my newbies their tasks, like gotten all the haps up. Like if I've done everything, I'm talking everything, I still am like, I should have done more. I should have done more. And again, that's just another way that I beat myself up. And another way that I beat myself up is, and I know that you guys can probably relate to this because this is a leadership Zoom, is am I being a leader worth following? Like, am I creating an environment that people want to be a part of? You know what I mean? Like, am I showing up in my business and for my team in a way that is most productive, that is good for everybody? And I really had to overcome, because I never thought of myself as an empath. But what I've learned, and part of it is a story that we don't need to get into, that I feel like I have to walk on eggshells. But I feel, or have felt like before in this business, like I have to tell people what they want to hear. And I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. And that's just because I'm like genuinely, and I'll totally say this, like no selfishness, I'm a good person. Like I'm a good ass friend. Okay. And I will show up for you, like point blank, period. And it's the same thing in this business. And I have to not be afraid of what people feel, because it moved past when you first start this business. It's like you're afraid of what people are going to say because you started this business. You're afraid of the way that your family is going to judge you because you started this business, or whatever. When you start messaging people, like those are kind of the fears that you have. And then when you get over that, it's like you have these fears of, well, okay, now I've built this team and I don't want any of them to leave. So I just want to make everybody happy so that nobody leaves and we build this amazing team. But that's not productive or efficient or effective for anyone, not for you and not for your team, because you may be telling them something that they want to hear and tooting their horn and stroking their ego and telling them they're doing a great job when they haven't shown up to a single Zoom. They have not posted on their wall in a week. I'm not telling you to tell them, hey, you're doing a super shitty job, you need to be posting more. That's not your job either. You're not their manager. But your job is to be their leader. So if you're telling someone you're doing great, you're on track for Ruby, and they're not even posting or getting new potentials every day, you are leading them down a path of false expectations, right? And so you have to be able to look at all of these different things and all of the ways that you may be critiquing yourself as a leader. But what I've ultimately come down to over time is you are not going to make everyone happy all the time. Point blank, period. Your leadership style is not going to be what somebody needs every single time. You're not going to mesh well with some people, and that is okay. And I know that, there's leadership is so, I don't want to say hard, but it is so challenging. And it has pushed me in ways that I never thought possible. And it's where the most growth happens in your business, especially when you deal with difficult distributors. But I'm not even going to get into that. So those are the ways that I critique myself in my business and in life. If you guys relate to that, drop a 1 in the chat so that I know I'm not alone. And we're going to talk about how to overcome these things. How do you deal with that? So, number 1, you are never going to find balance per se, right? You are constantly going to be juggling your life and doing different things and taking care of your kids and trying to build a business on the side. And some of you are still working full time or whatever. And life is always going to be crazy. So what you have to do, and what I've had to realize and what I've learned over even just the last couple days, is just do the next right thing. Stop over analyzing and creating this huge mountain that you have to overcome to figure out how to be the best mom, the best wife, the best business owner. It's never going to happen. You have to just show up every day and do the best that you can. And the people who love you and a team who truly has your back, when you've built a team of trust, they are okay and are willing to watch you fail and get back up so that they have the courage to do the exact same thing. And that goes in life too. There have been so many times where a distributor and I are sitting there just breaking down, almost crying together about a situation that we had with our kids that day. And we can connect on that. But as their leader, I'm also going to come back at the end of the conversation and be like, you know what? I can't use this though as my excuse. So let's get to work. Do you want to send 30 messages together? Let's listen to a podcast. Let's start a power hour together. Let's do the things, right? But you also don't want to put your family on the back burner, because they are the reason that you started this. And this is why getting so almost obsessed with what your days look like and how you're utilizing your time. Because ultimately what it comes down to is you're wasting your time on other things when you should be doing them with your family, and it's not the business. It's the shit that you don't need to be doing that can wait till later, aka laundry, cleaning your house, doing the things that, going out and I don't know, whatever y'all do, right? But you could be spending that time with your kids and you're choosing not to. So everything is a choice, and you have to just decide, am I happy with the amount of time that I've spent with my family today? If the answer is no, then the phone needs to be put away for an hour and I need to go spend some time with my family. And I'm going to be staying up a little bit later tonight, because that doesn't mean that I'm sacrificing in my business. So when my kids go to sleep, I'm going to be staying up an extra hour so that I can make sure that I am making my business a priority, but yet I'm making what is important to me, my family, my time with my family, also a priority, right? And that's where it goes back to when I very first opened up this Zoom, making those sacrifices. And sometimes you are going to have to pick your poison. Sometimes you are going to have to choose between spending that 2 hours with your family and getting 2 hours of sleep. Which do you want? You know, if it's important to you, then do it. Go spend time with your kids. Go take them to the pumpkin patch. Go do all the things. And if you feel guilty for not working your business, then maybe that's something that you should look at, and maybe you need to stay up later, or maybe you need to get up earlier so that you can get your stuff done before you leave, right? So have a schedule or have a to-do list or have something that's going to keep you on track. That is how I have learned to overcome that piece. And it's still a struggle, you guys. Some days I still feel like a terrible mom because I worked my ass off in my business, but I got 4 enrollments, so she can deal with it. You know what I mean? Like, your family's going to have to make sacrifices too because you are building a legacy for them, but there's total give and take, and that is nothing that I can teach you. That is just something that you have to have peace with in your heart and know that you are giving your best in both. And if you're not, then you just need to reevaluate and adjust where you're at, because the best piece about this business is that you truly get to decide when you work. No one's telling you when you have to be somewhere, right? These Zooms aren't mandatory. This is something totally optional, something for you to just grow and get poured into and learn things. Okay. Ruminating obsessively. So what I have learned to ask myself when I do this is, who is this benefiting? Because there is only about a 3 to 5 minute window of you critiquing yourself on a Zoom or whatever. Like, if I were to start critiquing myself or ruminating over this training after this, I give myself a time frame. You get 3 to 5 minutes to look at what you could have done better, because that's constructive. You have to be able to look at what you can improve on, right? Otherwise, we would never grow. So of course, you have to be willing to look at, okay, how could I have done that better? How could I have been a little bit more understanding? Or how could I have been a little bit more humble? Or how could I have come more from a place of empathy? Or whatever it is, like whatever you're ruminating over, give yourself 3 to 5 minutes and then cut it off. Because after that, you're just going to go into the beating yourself up cycle and nothing productive is being done from it. So who is this benefiting? Am I just sitting here beating myself up? Or am I actually making a list of things that I could improve on that I'm just going to work better on tomorrow? You know what I mean? There's a total difference. So the next thing, I should have done more today. Y'all, this is going to be a struggle that you probably deal with just as much as I do till the end of time. And that's the same thing with my kid. Like, I do the same thing with myself every single day with my business that I do with my kid. I should have spent more time with Oakland. I should have enjoyed that moment more. When she came to me and was trying to show me something and I shooed her off, I should have paid more attention. You know what I mean? Like, as moms, we do those things. And it is the same thing with my business. I should have sent that extra message when I thought about it instead of logging off. I should have added 50 more people, whatever. You cannot make up for lost time. You cannot make up the fact that you shooed your kid away when they were trying to show you something. And yeah, maybe you fucked up. Maybe you should have done that. But you can play the woulda, shoulda, coulda game all day long. All day long. So instead, again, you have to go back to, who is this benefiting? Am I benefiting Oakland by sitting here beating myself up about the fact that I shoot her away and I shouldn't have? No. What do I need to go do instead? I need to stop sitting here bitching about it and go cuddle her with my phone down for 5 minutes so that we both feel better, and then move on. You know what I'm saying? Say sorry. You guys are going to fall on your face as parents, as wives, as spouses, as friends, as business owners, and as leaders a million times over, and you have to be willing to give yourself that grace. Otherwise, you absolutely will never grow. If you don't allow the failures to just happen and to soak them up and to seek them out and to look for them, you won't be able to get back up. You won't be able to show your team what they need to overcome for you to get to the next level. You have to fall down first so that you can show them that it's okay and this is how we overcome it, right? Are you being a leader worth following? This is so simple. Are you being a good human? Are you asking them the right questions? You know what I'm saying? Are you trying to implement that quiet leadership that we've been talking about? Are you showing up in your own business? You guys, if the answer is no to any of those questions, the solution is very simple. If your team is not where you want it to be, you have to start showing up more for you first. You need to send the extra messages. You need to get the extra haps up. You need to grow your network and your mind more. You need to be sharing trainings with your team if that is something that you want them to do, right? So I'm not telling you necessarily have to do that, but if you want your team showing up in those ways, you got to be the leader in the front. It's just like when we're kids. Follow the leader, right? Are you being a leader worth following? Well, when you're a kid, it's the one who stands in front and takes charge. It's not the kid in the back who doesn't say a word that is going to be leading the group. It's that one strong kid who is like, all right, let's go, crew. Like, what are we doing today? Are you being that leader? Are you being excited? So those are the questions that I ask myself. And that's how I get myself rehyped and kind of out of that negative spiral, is I'll be like, okay, well, did I show up my business today? Yes. Am I excited? Yes. Did I show up for my team and give them what they needed to succeed today? Yes. Then fuck yeah, we're on a good start. You know what I mean? And if they don't take the meat, then like, they don't eat. I'm not going to force feed my kid. Why would I force feed a distributor tasks to do? Right? But if they see you showing up, if they see you excited every single day, they can't help it but be excited with you. And the people who aren't are going to go. Okay. So there's balance between giving yourself constructive criticism and beating yourself up. You have to be willing to take your own constructive criticism to grow and learn. I hope that at this point that is like self-explanatory with what I've said. But you also have to be your biggest cheerleader, you guys. And I don't know if you watched the Wake Up With Me this morning, but I talked a little bit about this because there's not always going to be a push. There's not always going to be someone in your corner cheering you on as loud as you need them to be. So you have to be your biggest fan. You have to be the person that gives yourself a kick in the rear when you need it, or gives yourself a hug when you need it and tells you that it's okay and to give yourself grace, right? So you have to be the one in your corner that is saying, Destiny, you got this. Who's saying, Bree, Steph, you got this. You have to keep going, right? I can't be that person for you. No one will inspire you like you will inspire you. No one will motivate you and give you that self-discipline like you will. And how I literally look at my business sometimes when I don't want to work is I'll look at Oakland or I'll look at my house. Do you want to pay your mortgage this month? Better get to work. Do you want to feed your kid? Better get to work. Do you want to go get your nails done? Better get to work. You know what I'm saying? So whatever it is that is going to kick you in the rear, you've got to have that on lock, ready to pull out on yourself. What is something that scares the shit out of you? Losing your house? Like that should scare the shit out of anybody. Not having a roof to live under, not being able to provide for yourself, not being able to have food, not having gas. I can tell you right now that I'm so done with that shit. I am so done being broke. I am so done having debt, right? And we're making improvements. And because of this business, obviously, like I was able to buy a house, whatever, but like that can go away at any moment if I don't show up. If I stop showing up, my team stops showing up, which means the paycheck's not there for me or for them, which means nobody's paying their bills. So how are you going to show up today? What is it that you are going to use to pull on yourself to get yourself to work? All right. The other thing that I wanted you to, I don't even know what I'm trying to say. I wrote down this analogy this morning, and the more that I look at it and get ready to say, I am like totally laughing at myself. But I wrote this analogy that's basically like, no one notices the tiny booger in the corner of your nose. Okay? Only you. But when you go into the bathroom and you see that there is a booger in your nose, you want to die. because you've been walking around all day with shit in your nose and nobody told you, right? How embarrassing, how frustrating is that? And you literally, like, I don't know about y'all, but there have been times where I'm like, I'm done. Like, I'm going home. I'm not even showing my face again. Like, this shit is so embarrassing. I can't. But no one noticed the booger. Only you did. So while you're beating yourself up about whatever you should have done better, whatever you did wrong as a mom today, no one noticed but you. No one is beating you up about it except for yourself. People are only worried about themselves 99% of the time. They're not thinking about you. So you have to really start thinking about, okay, am I just obsessing over what other people are thinking when they're not even thinking about me? Am I thinking about all this judgment that I'm going to receive when really it's just me making it up in my own head? So don't do that to yourself, because I am so guilty of this, y'all. And that's why I wanted to talk about it today, because for real. Oh my God. I have such a traumatizing booger story. Everybody saw. Oh my God. Okay, so I want you to ask yourself, what are the areas that you are beating yourself up too hard over in life and in business? Where do you need to give yourself more grace in life and in business? And I seriously want you to ask yourself these and write them down. What are you beating yourself up too hard over? Where do you need to give yourself more grace? Where are you giving yourself too much grace and you need to train yourself to buckle down and get serious? Okay, so those are kind of your call to action prompts for the end of today. But I hope this helped you guys. I will post the recording and the push is posted, all the things. And then make sure that you watch the Wake Up With Me if you have not already. Encourage your teams to do the same.